Do something a little different today. What we're going to do is we're going to look at difficulty 4 Killer Sudoku for people who are not as skilled in solving Sudoku. So we'll look at like common ways to solve them um, and go from there. So we'll see what we can do. Um, so the first thing we're going to do is fill in obvious answers. I'm not going to use combinations, but they're turned on right now just so I can do quick sums. So the first thing you're going to want to do is do your quick summary to find the easy things to fill in. So for example, you'll notice that we have a hole here. So right away we can solve for a few things here. So those are the first really quick things that I see. This total is 6, so therefore this has to be a 6. This 1, 2 here is going to mean that this is going to be a 3, 6, or a 4, 5. Here we have 6, 9, or 7, 8. So I always want to fill in the things that have 2 possibilities versus trying to fill in things that have 3 or more possibilities, because then you're just going to have so many items in a box, it gets really confusing. So it's much easier to try to fill in fewer cells that, or put fewer combinations into a cell than it is to put all of them. So for example, here we have a 5 with an 8. So because of that, we can only have a 1, 7, or 2, 6 in this cell. Up here with the 8, we're always going to have a 1. So I like to fill that type of cell in as well. Your 21s will have an 8 or a 9, but we don't know which it's going to be. The total here is going to be 31. So this is 14, but that doesn't really tell us a lot yet either. So the next thing I want to look at, so you'll see areas where the a cell may jut out one box and then go back in another box. So I like to look at these to see what the total is. So for example, in this scenario, the 17 box now is going to have to be at least a 6. So if this is a 6, this is a 1, but we know there can't be a 1. So this is going to be a 7, 8, or 9. And now this is going to be a 2, a 3, or a 4. So it's important to be able to look for those scenarios and understand what they mean. So sometimes you have to do some math in your head and figure out okay, if this is this, then what does this equal? But it's definitely beneficial to do that. We're going to have another one of these boxes right here where, another thing I like to do is try to go from the side that's easier to figure out. For example, this total is going to be 180, whereas this other total is going to be 235, or I'm sorry, 225. And trying to remember, is it 135 or 225, etc., is just a bigger pain. So if you can do an even number of columns or rows, that's going to be your 90, 180, 270. But always go for the less. So don't go for 270. Go for the other side and make it 90. So just as a quick thing. So once again, now we have a 187. So the only possibilities of this 13 box will be a 1 and a 2. If it's a 1, this is an 8, and if it's a 2, this is a 9. So that's important once again. So now we have a 1-2 pair here, which may come in handy, but once again, I'm just trying to go over some of the basic strategies of things that you should be looking for when filling in a Sudoku, or Killer Sudoku, that is. So let's see what else we can come up with. So this total here, let's see, so we have 21, 24. I'm sorry, yeah, 21, 24. So this is 21 as well. But it's a 21 with no 9. And so the important thing there is going to be that because there's no 9, this is 3, 9 now. So this actually helps us a lot. There has to be a 9 in these squares. So this is 3, 9. This is 4, 5. And this is 6, 7, and 8, which is also 21. But because we know it's 21, if there was a possibility of putting a 9 in a couple of these boxes, you know that because there's no 9, that 6, 7, 8 will be your completion for that. So because this is 6, 7, 8, this is 5, 6, 7. And now having 6, 7, or 8 here may be helpful. Another thing we can do. No. So this is 26 with the 1 involved. So 25 plus 1 is 26. So this is a total of 19. Doesn't really tell us a whole lot. I guess we could look at, like, if this is an 8, then that leaves 4. So actually this can never be an 8 because we would need 1, 3. So we can remove the 8 immediately. If it's a 7, then we have a 5, which will be only a 2, 3 possibility. And if it's a 6, it's going to be a 2, 4. So this is probably 2, 3, 4 like this. So there's either a 3 or a 4. But there will always be a 2 here. But we already know that because there can't be a 2 in these boxes. Oh, and because this is 6, 7, 8, this now here, all this here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not necessarily something I want to fill in right this second, but it is some information. So. And this being a 9, and the 5 and 6 being burned here, may limit us a little bit. So if it's 9, 8, 2, so that's a possibility. So we could put 2, 8 in here. Can't be 4, 6, can't be 1, 9. So this is 2, 8, or 3, 7, because the 4, 6, and the 1, 9 obviously can't be used. So we know there's a 3 used here, so this can't be a 7. Oh, we also know that there's no 2 here because of the 1, 2, 1, 2 pair. So this is actually 2, 3, and 7, 8 this way. The 8 squared can only be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 because it's either going to be 1, 2, 5 or 1, 3, 4. So that's the common fill-ins for an 8. So it's good to know those off the top of your head. Just because, you know, if it's an 8, you say, okay, there's always going to be a 1 in an 8 box. Let's look at this total here. Actually, we should be able to just do that. So 29 plus 7 is 36. So this total here is 9, but there's no 1 and no 6. So it's either 2, 7 or 4, 5. Because there's no 1, 8 and there's no 3, 6. So this is 2, 4, 5, 7. Going the other direction, we have 29. Oops. Sorry about that. Hit the wrong button. So here we're going to have 29 plus 11. So that's 30, which is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Because once again, there's only 5 numbers available here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's either 1, 4 or 2, 3. Interesting thing here is now the 2, 4. One of the things you should look for is whenever you have double items filled in. Oh, and so immediately we know what this is. So because we have a 2, 3 here, I'll explain my other example in a second, but because we have a 2, 3 here, this can't be 2, 3, because that would just break the puzzle. So you're looking for those type of scenarios. But the other thing is, let's pretend this 2, 3 wasn't filled in. Here we have a 2 and a 4, and you know that they can't both be a 2 and a 4, so it's either 2, 3 or 1, 4. But down here we have a 2, 4, and a 5, 7. That means that this box can't be a 2 and a 4, or 2 or a 4 at all. And there can't be a 2 or a 4 anywhere inside the rest of these squares, because once again the 2, 4 is taken. So that's like finding pairs. So you need to look for those. But we know because this 2, 3 that this is always going to be a 1, 4, and now this is always going to be 2, 7. So this is always a 3, 5. And then what does that all mean? So now we get to do some math here and say, okay, well, if this is a 1 and this is a 3, this could be a 4, or this could be a 2. So one thing that we do know, this can never be a 5 because there would have to be a 2 in one of these boxes. So the 5 is never in this box. And this could be a 1, 3, 4. It could also be a 1, 3, 4 this way, and a 1, 2, 5 this way. So just quickly looking at it, we know that there just isn't a 5 here. The other thing we do know is that this is 3, 5, 6, and 9 as a possibility. Oh, I'm sorry, not 3, 5, 8, and 9, because 6 is already used here. So the other 4 combinations here are 3, 5, 8, and 9. Now, this 14 square, we can work on this number. So I'll take the 3, 5, 8, 9 out for now. And let's just say, okay, what can we come up with here? Obviously, it can never be 1, 2. It can be 1, 8, which would give us 6. So that means that this box is never a 1. So this will always be a 4. And it could be an 8, or, so because 2 and 4 is 6 plus 8, and then 2 and 7 is 11. So this can only be a 3 or an 8. Another thing we can do is, once again, remember when I talked about the pairs when we had the 2, 4 and 2, 4 possibilities? Well, now we have a scenario where the 8 has a 2 or a 7, and this box has a 2 or a 7. So we can remove the 2 from here, which means because we can remove that 2, there also can't be a 5. So this is a 3, and now we have a 3, 8 like this, and this is going to be a 4. And then this is a 9, which means that this is a 1. If you remember way back, will it be 1? Yeah. So, or is it a 2? I don't want to assume that right away. No, I think it's a 2 actually, because this was 187 plus 2 is 189, so this would be the 9 and this would be the 2, which makes this a 3. So I just remember that. But and now here, this is 2, 4, 8, so this is now 1, 7, and this guy's going to be 5, 6, so 11 plus 2. We also know that this is 3, 9, so that's 12, so this is a 7. And now our 1 and 8 are left behind. Here we know that the 21 square can never have a 1, so the 17 box is the 1. And we also know that there's a 2, 3, and a 5 left over. Remember, this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll fill that in just because it'll make things a little bit easier to manage. This can't be a 3, this can't be a 4 because of these guys. We know that there's always a 2 here. This can now not be a 4, 9 or a 5, 8. So this is 6, 7. So that's going to fill in some things for us here. There's no 7 here. 6, 9, 7, 8. So there's no 7, 5, which means this is either 3, 9 or 4, 8. No 8 here, so no 4 here. See if we can do anything further there, but I don't want to waste a lot of time on it. Okay, so the next thing we'll tackle is this 15 combo. We know that this can't be a 9 because that would break, because that totals to 16. So this has to be 5, 7, and this is a 3. Once again, I'm kind of taking my time here to try to explain some things along the way. These are all pretty obvious answers. So now we have 6, which gives us a 6 in return. So that has to be 2, 4. So it has to be this way. Here we're going to have a 2 and a 6 left over. And down here we have a 1 and a 9. So 1, 7, 9, 17, 16 plus 1. Oh, and because we have the 9 here, there's no 9 here, which means this is 3, 9. So you have to be able to eliminate things as well to say, okay, well, we know there's a 9 in this row. We also know that there's a 9 here, so that forces this to now be the 3, 9. So that makes this 4, 5, 8. I like to do some quick math to make sure I haven't messed something else up along the way. The other thing is now we have the 17 square is a total of 10, which gives us a total of 6 in return. So, I'm sorry, a 7 in returns, but the 6 can't be used because that would require a 1. So now we know that this is a 2 and a 5 because that's 7. And here we're going to have 2, 3, 6. The 8 leaves us with 13. We know that it can't be 5, 8. It could be 7, 6, and it could be 4, 9. The 4 over here is used. The 5 was here, so that resolves this. But this is 4, 6, 7, 9, like so. And also this is 1, 7, 9. So we know there has to be a 1, which also makes this a 21 square as well. So it's never going to be, well, let's see. Oh, and up here we have 4, 6, or 8. The 6 is burned here. So now there's a a 1 in use. And then there's a 7 or a 9. If it's 1, 7, so that's going to be 8, which is going to leave us with 14, which would be 8, 6. So that's possible, which would be 4 here. Yeah, so another thing that's interesting. So one of the things you can do, but you have to be careful with this rule, is, so we see here a 1, 9. This combination here can never be a 1, 9, because if it's a 1, 9, the puzzle breaks. You have to be really, really cautious of this. If the 1, 9 were, say, like here, and the other 1, 9 here, because they cross over 2 different borders, the separator here, you can't do this rule. But if they're kind of like naked like this, where there's a 1, 9 possible here and a 1, 9 possible here, if this is a 7, this breaks the puzzle. So this has to be a 9. That's the rule, basically. So if you take a look at it, if this is a 7, or I'm sorry, if this is a 7, then this is 1, 9 and this is 1, 9. And how do you ever solve this puzzle? You can't. So this has to be the 9, and that makes this 1, 7 like this and 1, 9 like this. Because this is now 17, this is a 4, this is the 6, 8, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, but we didn't have proof for it at that time. Now we have proof. I didn't have to use that strategy. There was probably another way to solve, but it's kind of like an easy way to say, okay, well, we know that the puzzle will break, so therefore it has to be that way. So so down here we have a 1, 7, or a 6. Obviously it's going to be a 6. This has to be 1, 6 because this is a 1, 6. And this has to be this way. This is a 6, 7, but it can't be a 6 because the 5 would break. So this is a 6, 4, or 4, 7. This is a 6, 9, so that's 15, 3. And this is a 2, 8. This is never 1, 6. This is never 4, 8, or 5, 7. So this is always 3, 9. The 9 is here, so this is a 3. And then, so this is never 1, 6, or 3, 4. So this is 2, 5. So we need to be able to, once again, do those calculations quickly, and just be able to identify them without really thinking too heavily about it. So hopefully this has been educational for those of you who don't do, or aren't that comfortable with Killer Sudokus. The other thing, so we have a 3, 9, 3, 9 here. So this can't be a 3 or a 9, so it's going to have to be the other value, whatever that is. So missing here is a 2, because we have our 2's here, so this will have to be a 2. And once again, that's going to help us fill in more values pretty quickly. Our 3, 9 is here, so this is going to be 8 and 6. So this is 8, 6 like so. This is 3, 9. And this is 3, 9, 7, but we know the 7 is going to have to be here. So then we just have to do the math. So this is 11, 13, this is the 9, this is the 3, this is the 9, this is the 3, and this is the 9, this is the 3. And we're done. So once again, I took a fair amount of time trying to explain all this to you, but hopefully it was informative with solving Sudokus that are lower rated. But that one had an average solve time of 30 minutes, and we did it in 22 minutes with doing a lot of explanations. So, I try to solve puzzles in at least half the time of the average if I can. So, the level 10s aren't always that easy, but the lower ones, if I don't solve it in half the time of the average, I'm usually not very happy. But please like and subscribe to this channel if you like this type of video. Thanks.